I was like, actually, we'll be down there. We're doing a little something with them here real soon in June.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, the place was packed. I think they said there was over like 7,500 people, I think total that signed waivers and everything. Like it was a great event,
Wow.
man. Shout out Billy
That's
Blaze, dog. He
awesome.
killed it.
Why is it not letting me? Oh, there we go. Okay, got that figured out.
Hey, there we go. No, hey, I appreciate you helping out with this. I know Chop's got some stuff going on, so I definitely appreciate you taking time out of the day to be the guest on the show. I know we originally had planned to do one in the past, but I was sick and that didn't just work out.
Yep.
So I'm glad we're able to make this one work.
Hell yeah! And for anybody that doesn't know, this was super short notice. We kind of just put this together because we've been talking about doing it for a while. Like I said, I did one with Smokey, you know, it did what we could do with it, but to get everybody involved is, you know, usually the goal. Um, and like I said, as you guys know, there's a meeting of the minds, if you will, going on in Indiana this weekend. So that's why Chop couldn't be with us tonight. And also tomorrow night, we probably won't. I won't be doing Winning Wednesdays because I'm headed over in the morning. I'm taking my group shot crew with me. Sloosh is going to come over and roll with us. So a lot of work. That's the thing. Everybody thinks that when we go do these things that it's a vacation, and it is not. I
No,
mean, there's still fun involved, and we get to see a lot of our people, but it's a lot of work. Like we've already got it mapped out. We're shooting a couple music videos while we're over there. We're doing content, skits, everything through the day, and then bam, in the studio all night. So whatever may happen, may happen. You don't know what the hell's going to happen. We don't know what the
and
hell's going to happen.
you might even see me there tomorrow. You never know.
Hey,
Just
that means we
saying.
get hi, 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 yeah.
Hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We are on Country Rap Shit. I'm Weedosaurus Rex. This is Roasted on Rooftops. Shout out to Rich Regal. He is our special guest for the night. Man, I got a lot of respect for you, Rich. I met you probably a little over a year ago, and ever since then, man, I know we kind of just clicked, and I've been you know, a big supporter, big fan ever since. And
Oh,
I'm thrilled
absolutely.
to have you,
Same.
thrilled to have you on here.
What up,
So
Scott?
let's
No, yeah, the respect goes is mutual for sure. Like that's the thing. Like all you guys as a collective, even, um, you guys show up, you show out. It's always respect. I've never seen any of you guys, be disrespectful to anybody. When when somebody needs help, you guys help. Like you aren't afraid to get your hands dirty. Like I respect that, and you guys do a lot for the cannabis community here in Ohio, which means a lot to me. You know, and you guys are fighting the good fight that some of us can't. You know,
right.
so
No, that's love, man. Well, let's dive in. I know we got people in here, so let's tell the people a little bit about your journey into music and like what inspired you to pursue a career into music.
oh man, every time I get this one, it's a multi-part answer. Um, so everybody know, well, most people know I've been a tattoo artist for 21 years. I fell into that by accident. I hurt my back laying block. I laid block for probably 10 years, I'd say. Um, and I loved it. A lot of people, man, that's crazy work. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love working. But I hurt my back. My mom moved to place. So since I hurt my back, I went in there to help get things going and stuff. My stepdad kind of took that over. My wife, we've been together 26 years this year. She was like, you know, you can draw pretty good. You've always been interested in art. So she went and bought me a cheap little tattoo machine set up out of the back of a tattoo magazine. And I went to town. And within like a couple months, I had a shit ton of clientele and was like, okay, I should probably do this the right way. So I went into a tattoo shop locally that I found out was hiring, handed them like 6 pictures. I was like, I don't know a whole lot, but I'm teachable and I know everybody in the town. And they 6 months later, I bought the shop. That led into I've always been a music lover. My daughter's named Harmony after Bone Thugs and Harmony. Her middle name's Sincere from Nas's character in Belly. So the whole hip hop culture since day one has always been a thing for me. All the way back to Grandmaster Flash. All that. I love that stuff. But I never thought I would be an artist. I did some freestyling with a friend back in the day on a karaoke machine, literally a karaoke machine playing like basically like instrumental karaoke CDs of like hip hop songs. And we would rap to it and record it on a cassette tape. And I wish for the life of me I could ever come across those tapes, but they're long gone. But I would be an artist. So with the tattoo shop, I started kind of DJing shows, and I started throwing metalcore shows, like hardcore, guttural, scream metalcore shows, because I knew a bunch of guys that did it. They didn't have a platform. So I was like, let me figure out what I can do here. Started throwing those. I was the CFO, I guess you would call, of Higher Power Promotions, which is an MMA coalition, and we were trying to come up with new ideas to make the shows more interesting. So I not only was DJing, but I started bringing local talent out to perform in between the fights. And I was like, hey, this is a thing. Next thing you know, I was like, you know what's going on? And I booked Lil White in my hometown. And still was not a rapper. I met an artist that night, and I ended up becoming their manager. It was FHSP, Fuck Hater Stack Paper. They talked me into doing a song that was about tattoos. The video went viral. Went to the county fair and passed out like 200 CDs, and it just went crazy. And I was like, okay, I'm a rapper. And then we went on. We Ohio Award. There was the Ohio Hip Hop Awards, Power 1075 Award after Power 1075 Award, like all these awards, and we kind of hit a pinnacle when we were all going different places in our lives, and it ended up just being me and Zachariah Kane. If you listen to my catalog, Zachariah Kane is featured on some of my songs. He's one of the most talented artists I've ever worked with, hands down. And he actually just bought a house like a quarter mile up the road from me, and we never lived even like within a county of each other, which was crazy. But regardless, so basically I was like, man, the swag rap stuff that we're doing is not really me. It's fun, but it's not me. And I bought on to a show and a Georgia Boys show because I was really interested in that new wave, and that was more me. I've always lived in the country. I'm a country boy. Just because I wear Air Force Ones don't mean I ain't a country boy. My buddy drove by yesterday, and I'm moving boulders into a ditch yesterday on my property. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And it was Zachariah Kane, and I was like, "This is what you do in the country, boy. You move boulders." Smoke doobies and move boulders. But so it just kind of, I fell right into it. I was like, this is where I need to be. I can talk about stuff that's in my life now. Before I was making music for what people wanted to hear. And when I kind of slid into country rap, I was like, now I'm making music that I want to make. And now that I have a studio at home for the last year, if anybody's been following my catalog, it's gotten way left field and brought back, and then way left field and brought back. I'm all over the place because I've been experimenting. I've gotten to open up. I've got a blues rock song coming with Demon Jones. So never in my life did I think that I would be where I'm at doing what I'm doing. And it was never planned. It was all, I have a newspaper article in my tattoo station, and the headline on the front page, it's me. It's an article about me, and they took a quote and they put it up there, and I tell everybody, this is it right here. This is key for Rich Regal. It says, I realized I was going to have to do it myself. So I watched other rappers. Like, I can do this, and I can probably do this better. And I took everything that I learned for years of promoting, like 3 years of promoting shows, and took it and put it into music. And then now 18 years or so of doing all this, here we are on Roasted and Rooftops on a Tuesday night, brother.
Man, no, that's awesome. That's
So it's a
that's
long
one
answer.
hey, that's one come up right there, man. So what what were some of the biggest challenges you faced starting out, and how did you overcome those?
Hmm. Probably one of the biggest challenges for most artists was probably my biggest challenge, and that was finance. Um, Anybody that's wanting to get into this business, I suggest you having access to at least about 100 grand to get going. I mean, realistically, over the first few years, and really, if you could drop 100 grand into 1 year and do it right, you could blow very easily. It is a numbers game. Unfortunately, we don't make the rules here. Um, but a lot of it is a numbers game. You got to have the numbers online. You got to have the numbers backing you. Sorry, I was reading.
Yeah, you ain't
But
no, you're good.
but yeah, I lost myself reading. Now I'm off subject because I'm roasted on a rooftop.
Hey, that's if it was in person, we'd be even more roasted.
Yeah, let me
Promise
grab my
you
rolling
that.
tray. As a matter of fact,
That's what I say. I was about to do the same thing.
cheers.
Cheers.
But yeah, the obstacles. That's where I was at. Sorry, guys.
No, no, yeah, that's and
But yeah,
that is one thing that everyone's been saying is the financial. You know what I mean? That seems to be the biggest obstacle
well,
starting out.
and with doing a lot of artist development, I've had multiple artists that they start to get a little bit of a buzz, and they're like, bro, I'm just going to go full bore with this. Uh, and I know what that means. That means they're going to quit their job. And I'm like, do not quit your job. Keep your job. Work at Burger King. Don't worry about what people think so much because you've got to finance this. It's like going to college. You don't get this knowledge for free. That's just how it goes. You can get some knowledge for free. I give a lot of free game out to a lot of people. Take it or leave it. I don't really give a shit, but I'll give it a lot of the times. I tell people all the time, reach out to me. I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. But and that was another thing, not having anybody look for answers. Everything for the first 15 years, 10 years, probably at least 10 years of my career was me blindly just trying to figure it out. And if I'd have had somebody like me, oh man, whew, the money I'd have paid for that. To find somebody that could kind of put me, at least tell me what not to do. So those are probably the biggest things. That and being a white rapper, I have a lot of problems with that because it wasn't ever drastic, but a lot of people didn't take me seriously. And I hate the term white rapper for the simple fact that why do I have to be a white rapper? Don't call any other rapper a black rapper or any other race or a Chinese rapper. No, they're a rapper. You're either a rapper or you're not. I don't like that term. And that's crazy for me to say because white trash mofo is obviously the logo or the phrase. I guess it's not a label. It's not. It's just a way of life. It's us. This is what we were told we would always be this and never anything more. And we're proving it wrong. All of us as a whole. Yeah, choice line. I mean, it just the things that we had to hear because, and still to this day, because people don't understand that it doesn't matter. It really does not matter what race you are. You can do anything. Like I have an artist on WTMF that's an official WTMF artist that is a black country singer. And he is phenomenal. Shout out Tyler Truth. If you haven't followed him, make sure you go follow him. This dude, and I don't look at it like he's a black country singer, and he doesn't look at me like I'm a white rapper. He's just very talented, and not only talented, but very decent human being. He's a good man. He's all about family. Um, I don't even think he curses in any of his music. If he does, it's very, very minimal. And it's probably on some old stuff. Yeah, Darius Rucker got hung out to dry, like, like on the clothesline. Hey,
Yeah.
he ain't nothing. He's just somebody trying to do something that he doesn't fit in. Why doesn't he? Because he sings better than you. That's the only reason that I would say. You know, people find something
So,
that
I mean,
they
speaking
don't.
of that, how how's your music style evolved over the years? Has it changed much over the years? Like,
You, you broke up a little bit there. What was that?
oh, can
Yeah,
you
it
hear me
broke up a
better?
little bit. There, you're pretty clear.
How has your music style evolved over the years?
Oh man,
Do you still, I mean, do you still consider, I mean, going back to that, do you still consider yourself a rapper? You know what I mean? A country rapper?
um, I rate the country rap thing. At first, I didn't want to because I was like, no, I'm a country boy that raps, and I still stand by that. I'm a country boy that raps. If you want to call it country rap, you can call it whatever you want. But now, I definitely do stand behind the culture of country rap, true country rap. You know, and country has evolved a lot in a very short amount of time. And some people don't like the evolution. Some people do. Some things I do like. Some things I don't. Um, that's just what it is. But definitely my style has definitely evolved a lot. Like I said, I'm getting ready. I've got the bluesy rock song with Demon Jones. I did like Looking for Love a couple years ago. That was like a almost 50s doo wop with a new twist to it. Um, but my pocket is that aggressive crunk style rap. I love it. I love it. I love listening to it. I love doing it. Like I was a big Little John and the East Side Boys fan, and Pastor Troy, and you know DMX. You know, I love that. You know, something with a little
Right.
ass to it.
I mean, and that's
Wait,
smart to expand your, you know what I mean, to expand that way because you're going to hit multiple audiences. You know, you're not stuck to just one audience. You're gonna go for a lot more, and you're gonna get a lot more fans that way.
when I just don't like when people take it upon themselves to put artists in a box. You have to understand we are artists. And in translation for me as a tattoo artist and a pinstripe painter and a painter in general, and a musician and all of these things, I'm an artist in every sense that I've pursued. So being an artist, I've also understood that artistic minds go hand in hand with autistic minds. Anybody that knows anything about autism means it's a very heightened creativity level. And I feel like artists, people that have artistic, creative juices, have a touch of autism. You know, we are somewhere on the spectrum for sure, because we hone in on the creative side of our brain. So it takes us all over the place, and people try to put like Jelly Roll. Everybody's like, man, I really love his old stuff. So do I. But I love and respect his new stuff. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten to listen to him mature. You know, I'm just using him as a reference because everybody knows Jelly.
Right,
But
right.
I know a lot of people that listen to the old trap stuff, which I love, and we have two trap songs by Jelly from back in the day. Um, and we love that Jelly. That's the Jelly we grew to love and we knew personally. But he had to grow and he matured. So stop putting all these artists in a box. That's my big thing.
Oh yeah, you ain't
Oh
wrong
yeah.
there.
Jonathan
Now,
said, but I hate it when they think we ain't country in Ohio. Oh, we country, bull.
eh, so obviously, you know, being on Roasted on Rooftops, you roasted, smoking a little good cannabis. Can you share? Well, how has cannabis influenced your, you know, creative process when making music? or do you smoke when you write? Do you smoke when you get in the booth? Are you one of those that have to have the cannabis? And can you tell
It's
if you don't use it when you write?
um sometimes I can tell, sometimes I can't. And I'm especially in my older age, things are changing for me a lot right now as we speak. My body's changing, that's natural. So my tolerances for certain things aren't the same as they used to be. But it just really depends. I can sit down. There's sometimes where I sit down and I'm like, if I smoke or consume in any way, I'm not going to be able to keep my structure here. But then there's other times where I'm like, I got to get loosened up. But like say over here where we're going into here, I'm on the job all the time. That's what people fail to realize. That's one of the big reasons why I don't drink. You hardly ever see me drink at a show. If I do, I might drink a beer or maybe a shot with everybody, and that's it. Um, that's because I want to stay as sharp as I possibly can at this point in my career. Um, any little slip up will be manipulated and turned upside down. And I know that there's people out there just waiting for people like me to slip up. So don't give a chance to catch me slipping up,
You can't.
then they can't really say nothing. So just keeps me sharp, like I'm not saying if I'm in a public setting or whatever, I'm not smoking. I always smoke, but I definitely moderate a lot more because I want to make sure I'm sharp all the time.
No, and I respect that. Honestly, I really do. That's something you got to do, especially when you're trying to level up and take it that serious.
Yes, I did have a health scare, and it was a hell of a health scare. Sorry, I'm reading the comments
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. You're good.
Getting old does suck, but here's the thing. I was just talking yesterday to another dude that I went to school with and stuff, and I was like, I really don't feel like I'm that old. I really don't. Like I felt like, when my son was born, my mother-in-law was 35 years old. And I looked at her and I thought, man, she's old. And now I'm 43. And I'm like, I don't even, when somebody looks at me and says I'm old, I'm like, hey, mom, I'm old, bro. I'll still work circles around half these cats. But, but then I sound like one of those typical OGs, like, oh, I still work, but I do.
Hey, you do though, and you ain't lying. You definitely will. I mean, you run circles, not just you run laps around them.
It's more like a fast walk. But the thing is that's what people don't understand is while I'm making the metaphorical laps, I'm grabbing somebody each time I make a lap and saying, "Hey, let me help you a little bit,"
No,
and
you
come
do.
back around. Hey, let me help you a little bit.
You don't gatekeep anything, man. Like you said, I mean, you really do. You try to give game and you try to help out as much as you can. I mean, I've learned a lot from you just by sitting back and watching.
And that's my thing. I told people a long time ago when I started getting serious in music. They were like, "What's your end game?" And I was like, "Artist development." And unintentionally, I've been doing it ever since before I started rapping. I was developing FHSP, and then I ended up being the manager, ended up being part of the group. So, and not just artist development, but artist handling. That's the thing that's been lost in a lot of this, and people call it, glazing or kissing people's ass or gawking them. No, we forgot that there is a position that should be there that's gotten lost, and it's artist handling. When I book an artist, and I'll use Justin as an example, if I book Justin in one of my venues and it's my show, I'm putting the money up. I'm the one making this show go. It's a WTMF presents event. I want to do all the extra stuff to make that artist feel like $1 billion. The best that I can within budget and everything and within time restraints. And that's artist handling. If I'm out on an event and Justin's there, or FJ's there, or another, I consider major artists and industry standard artist, not standard industry artist, and they're not getting paid. Well, I know that I'm not the manager and it may not be my job, but I am an artist handler and I'm always going to take care of the artist. I'm going to look out for the artist and I'm going to try to fix things between artists. And that's been lost in this business is, I, as an artist, I would love to come to a venue where I get booked and, not pampered, but just be appreciated. And that's what I try to do is show these guys appreciation, because there's so many times where us as artists get booked somewhere and we're just an act for the night. They're like, oh yeah, I don't care if you sold 500 tickets. I made my money and here's a stage, make it happen. So I don't want artists to feel that way when when they come in on my shows. I want them to be like, damn, dude, Rich does what he can to make sure everything's as good as possible.
Nah, man,
Heather, let's get it.
That speaks a lot. That speaks a lot, honestly. Hey, what up, KB? What's up, everybody out there? What's up, Zach? What's up, Heather? Appreciate everyone tuning in to Roasted on Rooftops on Country Rap Shit. I'm Weedosaurus Rex. We got Rich Regal as a special guest. Now, obviously, you said how you do a tattoo shop. You're into music. That's a lot to sit there and balance. So, how do you balance your personal life? You know what I mean, with the tattoo shop, your personal life, the music. How do you balance all that?
I don't even have an answer. I don't know how it one thing is I have to be conscious of my surroundings pretty much at all time. I have to be conscious of, my woman's feelings, my guys at the shop, artists that I represent. I have to take all these things into consideration whenever I do anything. But at the same time, I also have to take into consideration what's best for me. Primarily over everything, my old lady's going to trump over all the other stuff every time. My kids, same way. But by saying all that, what I was getting at is I have to be conscious of the fact that sometimes, I may be gone for the next 2 days. So when I come back, the first chance I get, I'm going to stop everything and I'm going to give her some time. She deserves it.
Absolutely.
She pushes me to go do all these things to pursue this career and doesn't really complain, and when she does, it's very justifiable because sometimes we're gone for a long time. I just got a big opportunity that we'll be talking about in the future that is going to put me away for a good bit of time. I'm not going to prison, guys. I just want to let you guys know that I'm not.
I was saying the way you said that kind of
be away in a good way. But yeah, that's the biggest, being conscious of things. There's times where I neglect my guys at the shop and then I have to reel it back in and be like, no, these guys are the reason I can do this. My wife is the reason why I can go do this. So like today I walked in and I was like, I was talking with my artist and he was like, yeah, it's my year mark was last week. And I was like, bet. I was like, gave him a 5% raise. And then I was sitting there and I was like, make it 10. Gave him a 10% raise. Just because he was the lowest guy on the totem pole, but he has worked his ass off. And sometimes I neglect that and don't recognize that. So I have to be conscious of that surrounding and good.
No, yeah, that's you got to be around your. And I ain't mad at you, man. You gotta what they say. I mean, happy wife, happy life. But that's you got to spend time with the fam though too. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, if you're gone for a couple of days, she's the one holding it down. It's only right to spend. You know what I mean? Family first. I'm all about that. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And that's the thing I preach to everybody. Like when we're out at shows, I'll say it right there on stage. Like it's the people in our lives as entertainers, or even I consider you an entertainer. Just because you're not making music doesn't mean you're not out here entertaining people. You're a public figure now. So uh in those situations, our people take the biggest hit because our family misses time with us. A lot of our finances go into this to make it happen. They suffer more than anybody else, So I always
Yeah,
tell people, make sure you take care of your people.
that's real. Well, they really do. Now, back to the music side of things. When you're recording, do you think your environment influences the creativity of your music? Do you think the environment has yeah?
Absolutely. And probably not in the the standard sense. I could be in a completely like right in the middle of the hood with nothing but trap rappers, and I'll drop like the most country verse ever. And sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll do a more crunk verse. It's just how the vibe that I feel at that moment, and it definitely does. And that's why I encourage people, if you record at one studio, step away every now and then and go record at a different studio in a different environment. Some studios, everybody's in there smoking and partying and stuff. That's not my thing. I do not like doing that. I don't party, so I'm there to work. But you'll get your creativity goes a different way when you're in a different setting. Just about anybody's going to have a different reaction to those actions. So yeah, absolutely.
So, with that being said, do you have a favorite place or a you know a place you would rather prefer to record at, or do you bounce around?
Um, if I were going to say a studio, as of right now, Stay Beat Studios, hands down, is the place that I recorded there for many years. Everything is all the way to turn the knob all the way off and break it all the way off. Like, they are impeccable on everything. Everything is just flawless. But I definitely, now that I've got my studio built here at home, I literally record right here where I'm sitting.
That's
I, you
nice.
know, I, I stand up to record most of the time, 90% of the time. And that's a breathing thing. Sitting down, I'm fat. This shit compresses when I sit down. And even if you record sitting down, try standing up on a few songs. You thank me later. It gives your energy a different energy. It does a lot. Now, that's not saying I don't record sitting down. Some things I do because I'm looking for that vibe. So yeah, absolutely. This is my I feel more comfortable here because I can experiment and there's zero judgment. Same with uh Stay Beat Studios, but when I'm in a structured studio like that, everything's on a time.
Okay,
And
that
when
makes
there's
sense.
time in the back of your head, your creativity it doesn't flow as hard. Like, I can come in here at 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up out of a dead sleep, have a hook in my head, go in here, hit record, and knock it out, and be in that moment. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, that really does. I didn't really think about it like that. That
My
makes a
weed
huge
smoking
difference.
song, the one I dropped the video to, fuck, can't even think of the name of it right now, but the one I just dropped at the end of the summer, um, that one literally came about. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm puffing down, drinking my coffee, and I was like, man, I am really stoned. I should make a song about this. And that's how that song happened.
See, so cannabis has influenced some of your songs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that one, literally what you're hearing in that song, it was 7 o'clock in the morning drinking coffee, and I was like, I'm higher than Batley right now. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I just did. So
Oh, I mean, hey, you're. I don't have any issues with it on mine. I don't know. So, what message do you help to push through your music? I mean, even in regarding the cannabis culture, like what do you have a message you're trying to push?
My biggest message is don't ever let anybody dictate what you are capable of doing. That's the biggest thing. That's what white trash mofo is all about. It's literally a a big fuck off to the people that told you you couldn't make it, or you were only going to be this certain thing, or you weren't going to do anything in life. My one of my teachers in school was like, well, you'll be lucky to be a trash man. And I was like, well, uh, pick me. I got something to say about that. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, a trash man makes about $3 more on the hour than a teacher does. And also better benefits because a trash man usually works for the city. So they get better, benefits all the way around. So, I mean, if I'm a trash man, then I'm already doing better than you, right? And that was no offense to her. Just don't automatically assume that I'm not educated enough to be able to bring these things to light. Like, she thought I was just some dumb kid, and I'm like, well, actually, they get paid more than you, and they get better benefits, and they get paid to go to college a lot of times, depending on the company they work for.
Yeah, it
Their
doesn't
job
seem
just stinks.
literally.
But I'd rather
Now,
throw trash than deal with kids. Like, I love my kids and I love kids in general, but I could not be a teacher. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I love kids to death, but
yeah. Teaching, yeah, it's definitely different. Now, how has well, have you always been a cannabis user?
pretty much, I would say I remember the first time ever consuming cannabis. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty cool, I don't think I've ever told this on a podcast or anything ever. Um, but I'm going to call some of my friends out. So if y'all end up seeing this, the Deerfields, Joe and Bo, that's how country we were. Joe and Bo lived next door to us. Um, and Joe was a little bit older. Bo was right about my age. And we lived out in the middle of nowhere. Our next door neighbor was a bird dog kennel. If you listen to Say My Name in my verse, I say eating free pheasant just to get by. That's how we got that free pheasant and quail all day long because they were training birds or training bird dogs. So that was my first job at 12 years old. I was spraying out dog kennels over there. So Joe would get us dip and stuff like that. And then he came to us one day and he goes, hey, I got these roaches. And we're like, bro, get that away from us. Why are you carrying around bugs for, bro? And we were probably, I want to say we were 11. If I'm
Okay.
not mistaken, it was 11. So young. And he was like, nah, man, these are what our parents be doing when we go to bed. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he was like, you know what it smells like? Pine. That's what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh, well, let's try it then. We're trying everything. We're smoking cigarettes. We're dipping. We're dipping while we're smoking cigarettes. We're smoking Philly Titans for no reason whatsoever. Um, so we all there was like six of them, these little roaches, and it was just us three. We smoked these roaches, and next thing you know, we're in the hay barn, just laying on the hay, going, man, this is crazy. Like I think I'm drunk. Like we didn't know what was supposed to happen, what was going to happen. It wasn't like when you put a dip in when you were 11 years old and you get that little spinny head feeling. That's what we
Yeah,
thought was
bro.
happening. No, we was over here like, what is life right now? So that was my first time, and then I used to gank it out of my stepdad's. He had a Maxwell House 10 on top of his toolbox, and he had some scraggly ass buds in there all the time, and I'd grab a couple out of there. I remember paying like $50 an eighth for shit back in the day. Like, and I mean, $50 an eighth if you got some out of this world crazy mumbo jumbo shit still to this day. But this was like mids, like
Oh,
good mids. We was paying like because we was kids. Like they were like, man, if we're gonna sell it to you, we're gonna make that money. We'd have the little aqua pipe with the little thing that flips out. And it's like It was like a vape pen before them ever existed.
That's funny.
We'd have a PBR can dented up with a little poke little holes in there. We
Yeah,
smoking homegrown rag. Oh,
that's so funny. That's literally kind of, I mean, besides in the hay fields, I was down in the lake, but that's kind of how. Well, I remember the pop can with the holes and dipping and all that, man. That's we're trying it all, like you said. You know what I mean? No one told us, we didn't know what you're
yep.
supposed to be.
Yeah. I
Now,
mean, we was trying everything. And my first concert was Pink Floyd
okay,
in sixth grade. So by that time, I definitely was smoking the cannabis.
that's funny. Yeah, my first concert, my dad took me to see the Beatles down at the Gardens. Now, obviously, a few of them weren't around, but I was still pretty cool. And then the first one I actually like really went to was Rascal Flatts and Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift got
Oh yeah.
popular.
One of the best concerts that you said Taylor Swift. Most people wouldn't expect you to probably go to a Taylor Swift concert, but one
I
of the
know.
best concerts I've ever been to was Macklemore with
Okay.
Kesha.
Okay.
My old lady was a big Kesha fan and a Macklemore fan, and mainly the song that they had together. And she was like, "I won't really want to go to this." I was like, "Okay, I'll buy tickets." And we bought tickets and we went. I was like, I can get down with Macklemore. I haven't really dove into his stuff, and then I seen him live, and I was like, "This dude knows what he's doing, bro." Like, and Kesha was really really good, but Macklemore is what stood out to me. Like when he did, I had never heard the song before, but he did the song Willy Wonka. And if you
Um,
haven't heard Willy Wonka by him, that is a banger, bro. And if you have heard Willy Wonka, now go to YouTube when you get off here tonight and check out my song Turn Up and compare that. I
okay.
you I heard a couple things in the beat that I heard live that really stood out to me that I never thought about that are very subconscious things. And I had who made that beat? I want to say City Chief made that beat. But whoever made that beat, I was very profound on these certain sounds. I was like, I want them to do this, but in a car or whatever, it'll just sound normal. On a live PA, I want these particular sounds to do this, just like this. And he nailed it. Like, but there's a lot of similarities to the beat. Like it's very, very different too, but the
I mean,
base of it definitely was inspired by that.
speaking of like live performances, you definitely put on a great live show. If no one has ever seen you perform, you guys really need to come out and check Rich out. He puts on a great show.
Now, are we talking about my mail review or the the concert part? Because I've
The
got
comedy part.
once I get into the OnlyFans section of the night, definitely gets a little steamy. What's up, Chris?
Now, so looking ahead, what are your goals for your music career?
I just want to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. No, man,
That's funny.
I don't really have. I don't want to call them goals. I mean, they're goals. Like you have to set goals to reach goals.
Absolutely.
Um, more than that, I just I'm just here, Like I I definitely plan. I want to have a good charting album. That's a goal, big goal. Um, but really, my biggest thing isn't about the sales and stuff. It's more about reaching people out there that can use the help. I did the Doobie Run 2 weeks ago in Dayton, Ohio. The girl that come up at the end of the night. I was standing by the merch booth. This woman came up and she was like, "Hey." And I'd passed this woman and these two girls a couple times throughout the night, and they tried to grab my attention, but I was running, I was working the whole night. And the mom, the lady, was like, "Hey, is there any way I could get you to autograph this shirt for my daughter? She is like the biggest fan ever." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "That's so awesome," Da, da, da. And I was like, "Ooh, what's your favorite song?" She named off like three songs. Bam, bam, bam. I was like, "Okay, then. Okay, then." And she was probably maybe 18. I would say she's probably 16 or 17, just very young girl. And she just engulfed in tears, like broke down. And her mom was like, "You don't understand. Like, she is the biggest fan." And I was like, "Oh, there ain't no reason to act like that." And she looked at me and she was like, "Do you know how many times you saved my life because of like the song Violence, or, like Looking for Love?" She said gave her confidence back to be able to, go out into the world and stuff. And, I'm hearing this from this very young girl, and man, why do these so many kids, and all the way up into, like I said, I'm 43 years old. I know other men, and I'm a very prideful man too. I don't like sharing my emotions, but I've learned over the last few years that I'm on a platform to where there's people out there that feel the same way that I do and have been through a lot of the crazy shit that I've been through. And if I can help them people, that's my main goal. Like,
That's real
I
shit
know
too.
I'm not going to be Lil Wayne. I'm not delusional. I know I'm not a mainstream artist. I do very underground sounding music, and that's why my fan base is a real fan base. I don't have millions of numbers, and those people buy tickets. My lower numbers, but I retain those people because I can relate to these people, and I'm sharing my story so that they can, so this can hear bawling her eyes out in this venue, and she did not care. She just that's the stuff that really should put things in perspective for these artists. Every time they make a move, whenever you make a move, you got to think about that kid, or this dude or this woman that you changed their lives because of something you said. Now you just said something that is super negative. Now you've pushed these people away. You can't keep that integrity at that point.
Man, yeah, no, that's deep. That's real deep. What up, Steve? What's up, everybody out there? Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Steve is another one. That's a big plug that I feel like sometimes he gets, I don't want to say looked over because everybody recognizes Steve, and he's really, his music stuff, he's starting to get recognized. But he's one of those people that he would literally help anybody. He jumped in the car and took off with me on the Doobie Run for 4 days, never asked for nothing, tried to pay for everything himself, helped me carry every single thing. He carried twice as much as me half the time because I was doing PR stuff. And he puts people together, like he's talking about the motorcycle shop. Shout out NFG Motorsports, baby. You're gonna see them at Redneck Rave. They're gonna have a couple booths. Um, Fat Boy and Brian and everybody up there. They're really doing a lot in Columbus, on the west side of Columbus, to have a good riding community for these stunt riders and all these riders. I mean, I'm not a stunt rider. I ride a Harley Davidson, boy, and I'll get right out there. We haven't gotten to ride together yet because I just met him. But Steve is the one that's connecting those wires, and he just went out to St. Louis and was hanging out with Motter Clark. They ended up doing a little soiree, if you will, since everybody was out there stunt bike riding. It was a big ride. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of riders. They had a thing at the Mississippi Soundhouse studio with Mo, and just kind of free thing. Come hang out, have a drink, whatever, you know. So Steve is one of those people that makes things happen too.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely does, and he's a big help too. I reached out, for some advice to him, and he was quick to help out. You know, what I mean, he wasn't gatekeeping or nothing like that. You know, what I mean, he was, oh yeah, man, here you go. Like, so I definitely appreciated that. Now,
See how
is there any artist out there that you would love to work with that you haven't worked with?
Nope, everybody's trash. I'm playing. Definitely one of my big ones is Tech Nine.
Okay, yep. I fucks with Tech
Tech
Nine.
Nine is absolutely the goat to me. You
Yeah,
know,
facts.
like as weird as it sounds because they're nothing alike. Looking for Love was inspired by Red Nose. He did Red
Interesting.
Nose back in the day. If you listen to
Okay.
Red Nose and listen to Looking for Love, you might catch it. It's totally different, but that was very much an inspiration in my head. As far as like another genre, James Hetfield from Metallica. I would or Lars, the drummer. I would just give me a Travis Barker. There's a lot, man, but there and maybe those will happen, maybe they won't. You know what I'm saying? That's not something I'm putting in my crosshairs. Um, but that would be that'd be
I
really
mean,
cool. Tech Nine definitely is probably right up there with the top.
speaking of those other names you mentioned, I mean, I feel like you were like one of the first ones to bring like a drummer and all that into all this. I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, you know what I mean? But
I'm sure there was other ones. I mean, you got to think people consider Rehab kind of country rap, and they full band. You know, shout out to Rehab, by the way. Danny Boone's one of my favorite singer songwriters. Um, but yeah, I'm sure there was other people, plenty of other people that were doing it. But you know, a lot of what you see with my performance between the Ego Box, the Geysers, the Cold Sparks, all that. Think about a heavy metal show. All those things that I do are based off of a heavy metal show, and that's free. Y'all, I'm telling you how I came up with the method to. And the biggest thing is I create a performance that would see. I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. I want to cry. I want to get crunk. I want to stand on speakers and jump off, but I'm too fat. But I'm getting there. I'm getting there, 40 some pounds down. But I said if I get to 240, I'm stage diving for the first time in my life. So y'all motherfuckers better catch me. I'll be looking like a bobblehead out here if I get to 262, I think, right now.
hey, you'll get
So
there. You'll get there.
uh, I'll be looking like a bobblehead. Shout out Paul. Love you, bro. But everybody always they're like, man, what happened to Paul Wall? Is he sick? I'm like, no, he just got healthy. But he was a big dude, so your head don't really shrink when you get little. Fuck with Paul Wall. That's my
That's
dog.
funny. Yeah, that's Jokes and Tokes actually, I think, is trying to get come out there and perform a little venue placed by us. It's like a little dispensary slash venue.
Yeah,
He's
we've
a
talked a few times, and Paul, yeah, yeah.
little,
We
OG back in the day.
we did a show with him in Columbus this last year, and it was super dope. He actually stopped and he was like, "Man, hell of a fucking performance." And he was like, "Hey, you got your camera?" He was like, "Get a picture." Stopped his security as he was leaving and shit, and he wanted a picture with me. There's my 2 seconds of fame right there. That felt good. You know what I'm saying? Because he watched the performance. He seen what I did to raise the crowd up for him, and he recognized it. He was one of those artists at his level to stop and recognize it, and then be like, "Hey, let's get this pic." I was like, "Bro, dude, Paul just asked me for a picture."
That's dope. That's super
I was
lit.
like, "Yeah, that's about as dope as it gets right there, boys."
Hell yeah, it is. Hey, what up, cartoon? Well, I guess for the last question, we'll wrap it up. What can fans expect from you, both musically and I guess in any relation to cannabis? You got any projects or albums you're working on? Like, was there anything they can?
Um, projects,
Any-
not so much. They'll come. Those type of projects happen just when they happen. You know what I'm saying? Because those, and I hate to use this term. It sounds cliche when we're talking about cannabis, but that's organic. When I do something that's and a lot of songs reference cannabis a lot because it's definitely been a pivotal part of my life. It keeps my levels level. Um, I've cut back a lot. I mean, the old lady was just talking about it. She was like, "You don't smoke as much as you used to," and I was like, "No, I really don't. Like through the day, I stay. I might hit one in the morning, but other than that, I'm pretty good all day. I'll take naps. I'm getting old. If I hit that through the day, I'm gonna be like, man, I got shit to do, and I'm gonna probably lay down here and take a little nappy nap. So I just don't do it. And I get home, I hit one, I smoke that one. I'll probably smoke another one before I go to bed, and that'll be it. And I used to sit here every night and just pound them. I be them Callies, boy, packing up them big old giant Callies every night. With mountains of goop on there. And now I'm like, dude, I got this the unicorn,
Yep,
the
yep.
Luca unicorn. Love it.
He said it's
Love
perfect.
it. Dude. It's just enough, you know what I'm saying? And it heats up real good. It's efficient. It heats very cleanly and evenly. And you can moderate the intake really, really well on that. I shout out to Luca. Can I get a sponsorship? You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
bro, they
You know
just
what
came
I'm
out with a
saying?
dinosaur of
I
that
just
thing.
seen it today.
Yeah,
I was
dude,
up
I
at the
know.
store. I got the seahorse was what I was all about for years, and then seen this, and I was like, I need that sponsorship. I'll be a spokesman.
Hey,
Shout out
well,
Cartoon Bonder, that's my dog.
we both might have to reach out to them and try to get a little sponsorship package.
Yeah, get a co sponsorship. That'd be super dope.
Well,
Roasted on Rooftops is a double R.
it sure is.
Rich Regal and Roasted on Rooftops.
Hey, look at that.
Clap.
Look at that. I think,
I'm
hey,
saying.
something's going to have to happen. I'm all for it, man. I'm ready.
Hell
Nah,
yeah.
well,
Does the chat have any questions? We have to stop right now if you.
yeah,
I'll give them
chat.
a chance to. Either one of us.
No, yeah, sure. Yep, let's do it.
Let's
Any
let's
questions?
interview Metasaurus back too. Let's throw it back at him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I'm down to answer any questions.
He said businesses that want. Yeah, there we go. Whammo. So, Weedosaurus, I'm going to interview you now for a second until we get some questions on here.
Let's do it.
Um, let me think here. What would be a good one for Weedosaurus? Where is your goal, and where do you think you'll be in reality in the next 5 years within the cannabis community? Like, what place where do you want to be at? Do you want to be an educator? Do you want to be?
That's a man. That's a tough one. That's a good one. I do. I love I love educating people. That's probably one of my favorite things. But where I see myself, I don't like staying still in one spot, man. So I'm trying to level up and grow
Feel
as much
that?
as I can. So right now I'm working. I've been in talks with Paragon Development about getting my own pre-roll out there. So shout out Paragon. So that's where I probably see myself having my own products and dispensaries, and kind of just being a face of my own brand and educating people along the way. Obviously, networking with people and seeing where we can take it and go. But like I mentioned, don't like staying still. Like I want to grow. I want to be able to help my family, leave something for my daughter. You know what I mean? Like my sister's been going through a lot, so I've been trying to help her, but pretty much just help the family out. That's really the goals. Not trying to get rich or famous, really. You know what I mean? But I'm just trying to live. You know what I mean? Trying to make.
That's all we can do, brother. That's all we can do. So what appealed you to what was it? Was it the buzz? Was it the smell? The because I'm one of them guys. I'm a flower guy. I like to feel it in my hands. I like to smell it when it's freshly broken up. Like what was the big appeal for you, or was it just, hey man, this shit make me feel good? It makes me feel better. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel normal.
So yeah, man, I got a lot of I'm diabetic. I got a lot of other health problems too. You know what I mean? Depression, anxiety. Back then, and still bits and parts here today. But it helped a lot with that. And I mean, obviously, yeah, it tastes great. You know what I mean? Like, of course, we can all say that. And I do. I prefer the taste over the high still to this day, to be honest with you. Um,
My guy.
I go for flavor, man. But yeah, definitely, it made me feel better. It made me feel more normal. And I could be myself. And I didn't like taking the pills. Taking the pills had me being somebody I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like I was prescribed Xanax, and if anybody's ever taken that, they know that turns you into somebody you're not. And I just,
Absolutely.
you know, at the end of the day, you gotta try stuff, and cannabis ended up working out for me, and here I am. Which I've been doing it my whole life though. Even in high school, I was always telling everybody like I'm telling you, you guys need to try it, look into this, and everyone back then it was frowned upon, so no one really took the advice, and now they're like, oh man, we should have listened to you. Like I remember my friend's mom back in the day, they wouldn't even let them hang out with me in school because dude, I didn't care about, I never used eye drops. I didn't care about hiding the smell. I mean, it helped. It was my medicine. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I didn't feel the need that I needed to hide it. I wasn't doing it to get high or, to be cool. Like I had a legit purpose for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, all right, one more and then we'll get out of here.
Let's do it.
What is your mecca of weed songs? The greatest weed song ever written.
You kind of cut out. Can you repeat that, please?
Oh, what is the greatest weed song ever written to you?
Oh man. Wow, that's a tough one. Um, my answer is probably going to change because another one's probably going to pop up later on. Right now, off the top of my head, I mean, it's hmm, one of my favorite weed songs is probably "Still Blazing" by Wiz Khalifa. That's the one that really pops into my head right now.
That one didn't
But
pop in my head, and that is a dope one. No pun intended.
yeah, yep.
I
If
would
I mean,
definitely, if I would say, I would definitely have to say, obviously, my bro, Lil White with the smoking song. I mean,
that's
everybody, this is my smoking song. It ain't
yep,
very long, but get rid. I mean, come on,
bro.
bro. That's
Smoke
the anthem.
one.
Um, that and then hits from the bong was like one of my first big
Oh,
ones that really caught
okay.
my because hearing that at the very beginning, first time I had
That
heard somebody do that, I was like, and then Cottonmouth Kings just made album after album about it.
where the weed at? It's in my backpack. Yeah, no, that was dope. I mean, really, Lil White, I would definitely, out of those that you said, definitely, my smoking song definitely was a big one for me there too, for sure. That was a
Oh,
big hit back in the day for me.
Laura, get with us. Yeah, dude, there's literally we could sit here for 3 hours
And talk
because there's
about
so many great ones. There's just so many. Like as I'm sitting here, like they're coming into my brain and leaving just as fast because there's another one coming right
so
behind it.
many.
It's like
That's why I
I
said
can't even grab one.
I'm sure my answer will change as I think more about it. But yeah, when you said that, that was like one of the first ones that just popped into my head.
And then you got smoke weed every day. Yeah, Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. Baby, that's all we eat. Because I got high.
Afro Man,
Dude,
yeah.
there's so many.
We could have a show just on that.
All right. Maybe you should. Maybe you should.
say,
You should do a
yeah.
review of an episode that's a 2-hour review of all weed songs and have to submit them. Even if it's something that, is mainstream, they have to submit it. That would be cool.
I like that.
That would have been a good 420 show.
That. Yep. We might just have to do that.
All right.
Well,
shout out to the chat, y'all.
I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Rich, I appreciate it. I know this was last minute, and I definitely appreciate you taking time out to hop on here and get interviewed on Roasted on Rooftops. I appreciate everyone out there watching. Appreciate Chop for letting me use Country Rap Shit and his YouTube channel to host this for all the audience out there. And we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you for having me on Roasted on Rooftops tonight. I'm glad we finally got to do that. That was a really good interview. I liked it. We touched on a lot, and I got to interview you back, so that was pretty cool.
You did.
We flipped on it. I'm gonna play a song as we go out. I'm hoping this works. I'm still learning how to run everything, but hopefully this works. And if it does, this is another fellow Ohio boy, Cowboy Killer with Lucky Jeans. Can y'all hear that?
Yes, sir.
Short tonight. Get ready for Indiana tomorrow. Shout out Roasted on Rooftops. Shout out Country Rap Shit. Redneck Grave Ticket. LGG. Copper Steel.
Premium gas, dirt on my jeans, hand on my
Cowboy
heart,
Killer,
Dixie
Lucky
land.
Jeans.
She the type of woman who don't need a man. She don't need help climbing in my cab. I'm a desert drifter, hiding from the heat, banging my speakers as loud as I can, leaning back in my front seat. Heard that there's a fire down by the creek. She gon' pop it like grease, grease, thick as honey, let her stick it on me. Me, little watch her jump out of them lucky jeans. Must be the lucky jeans. She gon' pop it like grease, grease, thick as honey, let her stick it on me. Me, little watch her jump out of them lucky jeans. Must be the lucky jeans. Your mama gave you the goods, make these other girls mad. I bet these boys can't speak just by the way that you laugh. And they all wanna just squeeze her, I let her pump my gas. You can see from the front and wait till you see from the back. I'm wherever the Budweiser is or get in a bag. This a different type of money, we gon' charge you with tax. Way down there in the holler, don't you use Google Maps. The water's warm and the beer ain't flat. Party's on the way. If you can't buy twice, then save. I can put you on the game. And don't you know that bread is the best paid? I can put you on a fly you out of state and moonshine by the lake. Take you places you ain't been. Train not to let a good thing go to waste. Premium gas, dirt on my jeans, hand on my heart in Dixieland. She the type of woman who don't need a man. She don't need help climbing in my cab. I'm a desert drifter, hiding in the heat, banging my speakers as loud as I can.
Oh, that's
leaning
just
back
my
in my
admin
front
thing.
seat.
Heard
that there's a fire down by the creek. Let her pop it like grease, grease, thick as honey. Let her stick
Yes,
it
thank
on
you
me.
everybody for tuning in
Watch her
tonight.
jump out of them lucky
Yeah, that is
jeans.
Lucky Jeans by Cowboy Killer, another Ohio
She gon' pop it
boy.
like grease, grease,
And we are
thick as honey. Let her stick
gonna
it
get up
on
out of
me.
here for the night.
Let her watch her jump out of
Peace,
them lucky
Rooftop,
jeans.
my dog.
Must be the lucky
Much love, y'all.
jeans. By the luck of the draw.
All right, y'all, we out. Yeah.
Drop another bail, cut a 50 off the top. Said the money really sticky and the rumor smelling loud.